This is the first time trying out Harley-Davidson's Milwaukee-8 platform. Welcome to the Bike Shack. Alright, now before we dive into the test ride, I just want to give a super quick rundown on Harley engines, just so we can fully understand why this Milwaukee-8 platform is so important. Now, there is a long history behind Harley-Davidson engines, but we're going to start with the last 3 iterations, starting with the Evolution motor. Coming in at 80 cubic inches, the Evo motor was widely regarded as one of the best engines Harley-Davidson has ever made. Produced from 1984 to 1999, these engines were simple, reliable, and in my personal opinion, they were the last engine to really have that iconic Harley-Davidson lope and idle. Now next up, let's talk about twin cams. Now the twin cam is the motor that I personally ride on a daily basis. Introduced back in 1999, these came in a couple different displacement options depending on the year of your bike, starting at 88 cubic inches, going all the way up to 110 cubic inches. Now the name for the twin cam is exactly its biggest feature. You now have 2 chain-driven cams versus 1 on the Evo motor. The twin cam also introduced more horsepower and torque over the Evolution motor, and in my opinion, it's also a great sounding engine. Now this twin cam engine was their flagship motor all the way up until 2017 when they introduced the Milwaukee-8 platform. First hitting the market with a 107 or a 114 cubic inch option, many were quite surprised by this update. Now some improvements they added on the Milwaukee-8 over the twin cam is that you now have 4 valves per cylinder versus 2 on the twin cam. And you probably guessed it, the M8 has even more horsepower and torque over the twin cam. Overall, the Milwaukee-8 is just a more modern design for an engine, all while keeping Harley-Davidson's traditional roots. But it's one thing reading a spec sheet, why don't we try it out? Alright, so first ride. I'm actually pretty excited for this one because, again, this is the first time ever riding the Milwaukee-8 platform. Prior to this bike, I've only ever ridden twin cams. I've ridden my 2011 Blackline, which has a 96, and I've also ridden Alex's 2013 Dyna Street Bob, which is also the 96. So again, first ride on the Milwaukee-8. Now before we take this out for a ride, I just want to give a huge thank you to Pfaff Harley-Davidson here in Toronto. If you're in the Toronto area, definitely check them out. They're my go-to Harley-Davidson dealership. But let's swing a leg over and try it out. Alright, here we go. Alright, first ride on the Lowrider S. So the first thing I noticed coming from the Blackline at least is that these mids feel very high. I think I'm just used to forwards. All my bikes that I've ridden prior to this have been with forward controls. These mids, they're different. I don't feel cramped. They're just a little bit different. But so far, this bike feels very smooth. Coming from a twin cam, it's just like, on a twin cam, you feel the vibrations, you know? You feel every little vibration that bike has, and those twin cams, they do vibrate quite a bit. It's more so on a Dyna than a Softail because of the counterbalance, but this just feels so smooth. So yeah, this is actually a 24 model. This is what they had at Pfaff for me to test ride, but the main thing I really wanted to try was this 117 engine. And riding right now, I'm only cruising about 60 kilometers an hour right now. It feels very smooth. It's a very smooth engine. Looking online, I know that there's a lot of debate between the M8s and the twin cams, and obviously the Evos, but I don't think, you know, Evos are ever making a comeback anytime soon. But many people think, you know, oh, a Milwaukee-8 doesn't feel like the twin cam, it doesn't have the same vibrations and doesn't feel like a real Harley. And you know, taking this on a ride for the first time, I guess I can kind of understand where they're coming from. Like, again, this feels like a completely different bike, but I wouldn't say that's a bad thing, personally at least. Like, this feels like a more refined bike. It's so, I keep saying it, but it's just so smooth. So this is how it is on its stock setup right now. Again, I'm about 5'10", 5'11", of a 32-inch inseam. I'm pretty comfy on it. I feel very in control of the bike here. There's so much torque to this, oh my god. Yeah, this bike is like insanely more powerful than my 96 twin cam. I don't think you gotta be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Man, this bike is just so much fun. And when you're cruising, it's super comfortable. Like, vibrations are at a minimum. The best way to describe it is that this has so much power when you want it or need it. And when you don't need it and you're just cruising like this, it's super comfortable. All right, so some thoughts after the first ride. This thing is insane. Like, coming from a stock 96 cubic inch, the difference is wild. The torque on this bike is so much fun. The feeling of this Milwaukee-8 engine, I know I've said it so many times on the ride, but it's just so smooth. It's a very smooth engine, and again, I know a lot of people are back and forth between twin cams and Milwaukee-8s, but compared to a twin cam, this just feels so smooth and refined. But anyways, I gotta get this bike back to Pfaff Harley Davidson. I want to thank him again so much for letting me take this bike out. This is the first kind of longer video that we've ever made on this channel, so if you like what you see, hit subscribe and enjoy your stay.